Welcome back to the channel. Jet Setting Jen here. Today we're going to talk about traveling cheap to Asia. This was something that was requested, so that is why we're doing it today. And just to give you guys a little background, I did live in South Korea for 2 years, and during that time I traveled Asia pretty extensively. And I will say it is a very cool destination, very different than Europe. And if you guys are interested, let's look into how we can get there cheaply. So, the first thing I want to say about traveling cheaply to Asia is that we definitely have a different situation here than we do in Europe because Asia is actually a very different market. And in that sense, you have some countries that are very expensive, which is kind of similar to Europe. But then we have so many undiscovered gems that don't have a lot of tourism, are still very affordable, and yet still have a really nice cultural and just different vibe and atmosphere than we are experiencing pretty much anywhere else. So to start with that, let's talk about what would be the cheapest countries in Asia for you to start with if you are a budget traveler or a backpacker or a young person or an adventurous person. I would say you can definitely start with Thailand, but I would not go to where everyone else is going. So Bangkok, Phuket, Koh Samui, let's get those off the table. Let's go to smaller places like Chiang Rai, Chiang Mai, or smaller beach areas. There's so many. Honestly, you could go to any of them, but I'm just letting you know that if you see other American tourists, consider that your warning that the dollar is not going to go as far there. Okay, so that's what I just want to emphasis here. Another place that's super cheap, has tons to do, and if you love, temples, shrines, spicy food, Cambodia, excellent option. Angkor Wat is so cool. It's so easy to get around this place. And backing up to that, I would also say Vietnam. Vietnam is a great option. If you do go to Saigon or Ho Chi Minh, or of course, like in the north, if you wanted to go to Hanoi as well, these are going to be the most I guess expensive places in Vietnam. But again, if you're going to stick to smaller cities, then you're definitely going to have a better time. So stay away from maybe Da Nang and Ho An as far as costs. You can definitely hit them up for day trips or just go there to see what you want to see, but maybe park yourself in other areas overnight that are definitely more affordable. Another place in Asia that's really great that I really loved was Malaysia. Malaysia is so interesting, so different, and so culturally diverse from a lot of other countries over there. So, for example, for maybe 30 or $40 a night, you could rent an apartment that faces these amazing towers. Here's a photo of me when I was there. It was quite a while ago at this point, maybe about 7, 8 years. But what I will say is it's still so affordable. I mean, costs everywhere are going up every year. So I don't want you guys to forget about that. But I will say still value against the dollar, still really great right now. Also, right now, Japan, super hot. Everybody wants to go to Japan. So what's great about this is the yen right now is down against the dollar. So that is very, very good for us, America, if you're American watching, because that means your dollar is going to go even farther in a country that is typically expensive. So this would be a great time to start planning a trip to Japan. Now, just to pivot for a second, we're going to focus on the countries that are more expensive and maybe how we can get those costs down. So, Singapore, I would say Japan, Korea, of course, South Korea is what I'm referring to. These are probably going to be the most expensive options here for Asia. Now, Singapore, when I went there, I stayed in an Airbnb. I rented a room. If that's something that you are open to doing, this can definitely help you keep your costs down. Eating at street markets, this is very popular in all three of these countries. And again, super cheap. This will keep your costs down. If you go to a restaurant in any of these three, expect the costs to be the same as they are in the US. So, really, no difference here when we're talking about going to a restaurant. How much does brunch cost? How much does the coffee cost? We're still talking US prices. Okay, so there's going to be no deal as far as that goes. But if we're willing to do like 7-Eleven, grocery store, or street food, we're definitely going to save money there on food. Same thing in Korea. So when I lived in South Korea and I would travel a lot on the KTX to Seoul or Busan, which is the fast train. First of all, their fast train is super cheap. In Japan, not so cheap. But again, right now is a great time to go to Japan because of the difference in the yen and the dollar. But back to Korea. So we used to rent these hotels, or they were like small kind of motel things. They're not the same as they are in the US. In the US, these are seedy places that you would never stay. In Korea, these are like what you would call a 2 or 3 star hotel in US, but they function just as good. And they are usually pretty reasonably priced, especially against Airbnbs. So I would definitely check that out if South Korea is a place that you want to go. And then as far as Japan, uh, Japan is just such a great place. I love Japan. I've been there maybe 10 or 11 times. The problem with Japan is it's so hard to get those housing costs down. I mean, the food costs, as I mentioned, you can definitely offset that by street food, by Koko Curry House, which is one of my favorite curry chains that's over there. They also have it in Seoul if you're going to South Korea, but they have it all over Japan, and it's just a super filling, very affordable meal, and it's tasty. So that's even better. But as far as other ways you can save money, the Airbnb option of renting a room or couch surfing even is a great option if you're open to this adventure. Now, as a woman that travels a lot by myself, I will say couch surfing has definitely decreased on my list. And that's partially because of my age, partially because of, my desire to sleep well at night. I don't want to be, woken up by people and not really know who they are and not really know my situation. So, just a note on if you're traveling by yourself, these three countries, particularly Singapore, Japan, South Korea, very safe. It's safe for you to walk around by yourself. It's safe for you to stay in a place by yourself. But as a safety measure, I would always suggest if you do feel comfortable staying with someone else who is a local, who does live there, and you just have your own room and perhaps your own bathroom, or maybe you share a bathroom with that one person who owns the house or apartment, so they care about that place. This is a great way also to get local insight and to just feel safer when you come home, especially when you're in a strange environment that maybe you don't feel comfortable. And if you've never been to Asia, I will say that most places are going to be a lot safer than what you're used to in the US. So that's really not a problem. A couple other places that I didn't mention, not for any particular reason. I just thought of my most, amazing trips at first. But El Nido in the Philippines is very affordable. It's a beautiful beach city. It's hard to get to. So that is the caveat. So it is a cheap place once you get there. It is a beautiful place once you get there. However, to get there, you have to fly to Puerto Princesa or Cebu, and yeah, either hop a secondary flight or take a 7 hour mini bus, which is what me and my friend did. This can be fine. This can be challenging for some. So I just want to let you guys know it is a difficult destination to reach. Maybe soon they will get a direct flight going there. We don't know. We will see. But in the meantime, I just want you guys to know that, there are plenty of other cheap places. You don't have to go to the major cities in any of these countries to really get a great experience, to try their food and to see how they live and their culture and experience the language and all these things. There's plenty of places within each of these countries to go. Another one that I absolutely love, but I would say is on the medium bracket for Asia in terms of cost, is Taiwan. So I absolutely love Taiwan. Taipei is probably my second favorite city in Asia total, only coming secondary to Seoul because I spent so much time in Seoul and I lived in Korea. So I am a little biased there, I guess. But I went to Taipei so many times. The people are so friendly. And it's really a very interesting climate and a very interesting landscape. So their public transit is amazing. They have jungles, rainforests, beaches, big cities, international people living there, and the locals are friendly, which I think is very valuable in Asia because if you go to places like Singapore or Malaysia or China, Japan, I feel like the people are more reserved, especially if you look anything like me or anything like an American or anything like a foreigner that they've never seen. They tend to be a little bit standoffish. I'm not saying that they'll be rude, but they definitely are a little nervous, maybe because they know that you don't speak the language. Whereas in Taiwan, I felt like they had no problem trying to speak English to you, which was super nice. I mean, they don't have to do that, of course. So we need to keep that in mind. This is not the first language anywhere in these countries. So that's really nice. And to finish off on some other countries that you could consider, Indonesia, of course, a lot of people want to go to Bali. What I will say about Bali is it used to be cheap, now not so much, and it used to have a lot less foreigners. So at this point, I would say if you just really have a desire to go to Bali and see it like one time, by all means, go to Bali. You will not be disappointed by that part of it, but I think if you're really looking for Indonesian culture and just the food and the people and the experience, then absolutely do not go to Bali because everyone from the Western countries, especially Australia, funny enough, are going there. They're buying up properties and they're building restaurants and coffee shops. So you're not getting that same feeling that you used to get when you would go there and deal with people that are just local and they're living there and they're living their lives. What I can suggest about Bali is on the other side of it is a virgin beach, which is not very much gone to by foreigners. And it is a smaller area that it's in. I would say it's about 40 minutes from Seminyak, if you're familiar with that. If not, look it up on a map. But it's about 40 minutes from there in a cab, but the cabs are very reasonable there, or at least they used to be. But Bluebird is the one you want to use if you're going to do that type of thing. They could pick you up at the airport, they could bring you there. There's also small hotels, little boutique hotels, and also small Airbnb condo rentals over there on the other side. So you're going to find a lot less foreigners there, which is going to help you not only cost wise, but also, you know, who wants to go to another country and see a bunch of, you know, Americans? Not me, but maybe you. So if that's the case, then you can just stay in Seminyak and you will feel right at home with all the Westerners and all the normal conveniences that you would have at home. For those of you who are super, super excited about Japan and Korea specifically, I am going to get some group space on a cruise next year that is going for 12 nights. So 13 days, 12 nights. And honestly, it's an incredible itinerary. I'm actually going on it. So if anyone wants more information on that cruise and how good of a deal it is, because it's under $2,000 a person and it includes pretty much everything except for your air and basically what you do on land. So anyway, it's a great deal. So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and shoot me a comment or send me an email. Ready to work with a travel agent but don't know where to start? You can always drop in my comments or send me an email to my business email, and I'm happy to help you guys plan your next amazing trip.